Hello and welcome to the Glow Up Method. This is the place where we talk all things life transformation and elevation of your life, living a life that you are proud of. Hello, my name is Natasha. I will be your host today. And this is such an exciting day. You want to know why? We have made it. Today marks a 1-year anniversary of where this all started, where it all began, where I finally had the courage, the strength to say it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to have like even a plan or anything. Just do it and let's grow together. It doesn't need to be perfect. Your hair doesn't need to be perfect. You don't have to wear makeup. You don't have to have specific outfits. You don't have to have the best lighting and the best camera and the best editing software. Just show up as you and let's go from there. So you all are just such a huge part of it. I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for you. So my first and foremost thing is to say thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing and being vulnerable with me and the community about your growth, your progress, your ups and your downs. So 2024 until now has been this a crazy year of ups and downs for me. I mean, I am so grateful that you guys had this front row seat and that I had this rare and unique opportunity to not only film 30 minutes a day of my life, but also to then spend another 30 minutes or 15 minutes if I was, listening at myself at 2x speed, and to rewatch your life in a sense. And so it has been such a remarkable journey. I am so grateful to be on this journey with you. We have talked with everything about from self-healing to self-love, self-improvement, learning how to love oneself, how to be a better person in order to show up better in your relationships, in your job, in your community, in this world, and to share what you learn. There's no need to gatekeep what we learn. I know, because I lived in a place of such deprivation, such shame and guilt. I was buried alive beneath, hundreds of pounds of weight. And I just felt heavy and depressed and anxious and overwhelmed and every single thing that a person could possibly, need, some medications or drugs or alcohol or whatever, shopping, whatever it was to get you through it. And I didn't. I'm not saying that I never did anything. I'm not some perfect angel over here. There's nothing wrong with whatever you use or whatever you do. Not at all. Please don't take it like that. I'm just saying, for me, what had worked was finally doing like what I did when I record, is just making the choice to start. And not having all these expectations. I didn't start for so long because I didn't have the proper gym shoes. I didn't have the proper gym clothes. I didn't even have a gym. I, didn't know how to work out. I didn't have weights. Whatever there was a gazillion excuses why I couldn't. And the only thing that mattered was the one reason to start. And that starting oftentimes creates momentum. Yes, there's been a lot of things that I've started and then stopped and then failed and then started and restarted again and whatever it is. But this time was different. I established my why. And it was so important to me that it became like this non-negotiable. It motivated me on those days where I didn't have motivation. And then it grew and it molded into something, morphed into something so much more than I could have ever dreamed it to be. And so I'm so grateful to be where I am today. Today I took a walk and it's a lovely day outside and I couldn't help it. And it shifted my day back an hour, but I went outside. I was like, I only have so many hours of sunshine today. Let me squeeze this in. And I took a walk up into the hills. I just listened to the babbling creek. I looked at the beauty of the sun hitting the leaves, and it is so good for my soul to get out in nature and get in quiet and get back where it all began. Because for me, my weight loss journey began taking 1-block walks. I mean, I was doing that before I made any adjustments to my eating. I was doing that before I did anything else. It was just this time that it wasn't even just to lose weight per se. It was just to have a moment to myself. And, through this journey, I have lost so much I have lost so much. I've released so many things, so many pounds, so many insecurities, like the unconfidence. Like I have gained so much from it. I am confident most times in most situations. I am fearless in a lot of ways. I am willing to take a little bit of risk and chances, a little bit calculated risks, right? I'm still me. I'm not just living too crazy or anything. I'm finally moving ahead. And I feel like for so many years I was stuck and I was drowning, and being in this place now where we can celebrate and understanding what the Glow Up Method is. I didn't even have a name for it when it began. And what happened is things just start coming holistically. They start to happen as you start working on things. So if you're writing a book, just because you don't know what the title is or what the book is going to be about, it doesn't mean you don't write. And just like this, it didn't mean I didn't start. I now have a website. Am I doing things with it? No. So this second year of the Glow Up Method is going to be so much bigger than the first year. You know, the first year was just like an infant, right? It's getting its bearings. It's like, what is this world? How do I operate? And now it's making all the connections and the things that I want to do, and how everything connects in together, from the books, from the, the podcast, the YouTube, everything, how they all are working synergetically, harmoniously to help others. Because that's what it's all about. It's all about empowering other people. Because if it wasn't for people that were sharing their knowledge via their books and their websites and their YouTubes and their podcasts, I may not be where I am today. I am the hodgepodge of some really, really incredible, hardworking individuals who did not take no for an answer, who went out there and said, I am possible, I am doing this. And they did it. It wasn't just a dream, a one day. They took action. And so am I. And so are you, by listening here. And then you're going and doing whatever else you're doing in your life. You are an incredible, remarkable person, and you are leaving your impact, you're imprinting it onto this earth, and that is your legacy. That is the most beautiful legacy you can leave. And so what I want to do here for this next year, this year 2, is kind of like a toddler, right? Like now they can walk around. They have a little bit of foundation. We know how to see, we can grab things, we can move. We're a little bit more independent than we were before. We can feed ourselves. So it's far from perfect, but we are now entering that toddler phase of the Glow Up Method, where it's like, what can I do to help you as the viewers in a better way? Like, what is my value? How do I add more value to your life? Yes, my stories are great, and they're what's going to happen in this lady's life now. But I really want to be this source for you to really help hone in and guide you into the next phases of your own life, right? Because that's what it's about. And then you can take that knowledge and share it with other people. And so that is really what I'm thinking about here today. I've got a few projects I've finally been working on. Like, it does feel like things are kind of heading in the right direction again. I felt like, with everything that was going on within my marriage, within my family dynamics, taking a vacation, like it has felt like this fall season, like the literal fall season in my life. I know it's probably like spring or whatever by the time you're watching this, but I was in a fall season. It was a really hard fall. It was a really, I fell on my butt. I fell on my face. There were tears I didn't know I have. There were emotions I thought I long gone. And I'm really happy at where I'm at. What I'm really learning how to be is okay with who I am. I am continuing to learn to speak what it is my experiences, to take the time to take a walk and discover what it is that I want, and make decisions based upon my needs, my desires, my non-negotiables, versus kind of waiting and seeing what other people want and want to do. So this has been a great exercise for me. It has been a lovely lesson, and I appreciate Chris's willingness to be an active participant, because whether or not we succeed, which would be great, right? And in many senses of the way, a family stays together, and that's great. But if we aren't meant to be with one another, if neither one of us are able to do the things that one another needs in order for the other person to feel safe and loved and supported in the relationship, then there will come a time in which we really do you know, end this notion of a reconciliation. But I'm really glad about where we are right now, and I'm very grateful for it. I feel very different than I've ever felt in regards to him. I've taken off those glasses that I've worn for so long. They were like glued to my eyes, that almost in a way was always looking for the things to validate a negative story about what was happening. Yes, there would be rare times that he would come in so happy and things like that, and I'd be, pleasantly surprised. But the main narrative of our life was he was unhappy, he was depressed, he was his own whole essence and negative being, and I was this other thing. And as I started to emerge from my cocoon, right? Because I quieted it, I silenced it for so long and just catered to him. But as I started to emerge from my cocoon, it just made him much more insecure, much more needy, much more clingy. And it was just like a magnet with the opposites. It was just terrible. And I feel like for me personally, I can only speak to my experience, I have removed those glasses looking to see all the ways in which he does not fulfill my expectations. And I'm just really seeing him for him. And I think that that's a beautiful exercise, whether it be with Chris, whether it be with somebody else down the line, a friend, a family member, anything. It is so valuable to see people without the expectations in which we put on there. And that's what I wanted for myself. Like, I want to be seen without the expectations of what a wife or what Natasha or what this person does. I just want to be seen for who I am. And I think that that's a beautiful thing, to be able to see and meet people where they are and where they're at. So celebrate. This is the whole thing of today. It's an anniversary. Anniversaries have always meant a lot to me. It is just such a symbol of yes, we can, and yes, we did. Whatever it is, like even if it's a wedding anniversary, like you did it. You stayed married until this date. Like you have done it this many days in a row. That takes work. That takes consistency. Me choosing to show up here on the days that were tough, and of course some days I didn't. But I mean, overall, a good bulk of almost every single day, I was here or had this on my mind. And every day since September 9th, I have published a video. And so here's the thing is, like I say all the time, it's all about the consistency, the consistency, the consistency. And I cannot reiterate it more than that, because we grow from that. We don't see it maybe from the day to day, just like when our kids are kids, right? Like sometimes we see them every day and so we don't see how much they've grown. And then somebody, a family member, a friend, they see them and they haven't seen them in a couple of weeks and they're like, oh my gosh, they grew, they're bigger, they're this. And you're like, no, I don't think so. But then maybe you look at a picture from 2 weeks ago and you're like, you're right. There was all this growth. Sometimes when we're in the thick of it, we're right there, we can't always see the growth that's happening, even though it is. So you showing up even every day, especially on the days when you don't want to, even on the great days, you are growing, you are improving, you are getting better, and you are honing in your craft, whatever it may be. So if you want to be a beautiful painter and you're painting a little bit every day, that counts. Whatever it is you want to do, if you show up every single day, like I show up every single day for my steps, like I show up almost every day for my intermittent fasting, like I show up for this, like I show up for, when you continue to show up, it becomes part of who you are. And it doesn't become this thing like, when do I show up? What do I do? How do I do it? It doesn't, like all that wasted space and energy about trying to get it right and trying to get it perfected and when and where, it kind of goes away. It is something you do, just like you brush your teeth. You know, it's not like, when am I going to brush my teeth? How am I going to brush? It's just, you just do it, right? Like, when am I going to shower? Like, you just do these things. It becomes a part of who you are. And I have all the confidence and faith that no matter what it is you put your mind to, you will be able to achieve and you will be able to do, because I'm living proof of it. Like, there was nothing in my mind that said that I was going to be able to achieve the health that I have achieved. And the only thing that's gotten me here is sheer will, discipline, and consistency. Nothing else. I don't care what anybody else says. I will guarantee you that's the recipe for success. It is. Yes, maybe sometimes on some workouts you might look at me and I'm spazzing out because I am loving it. It is where I find my most joy. It is something that is truly for me. It is not dependent on any other person. It is just pure love and joy in there. So I have a ton of energy. Is there something you love to do that brings out like this extra boost of energy? You know, like my son, it's video gaming. He gets this extra boost of energy. Another son, he likes fantasy football. It brings up this extra burst of energy. One son likes soccer. Actually, they all do. But, you know, one son's playing soccer. It brings up this extra burst of energy. My daughter loves decorating and holidays and baking. It brings up this extra burst of energy. Whatever it is you like, whatever it is you just enjoy, you could get lost and you can do forever and never, ever stop. There's never like enough of it. Those things that bring you joy. I mean, I just got so lucky that I found something that happens to be, I move my body and do. I mean, I have found pleasure in other things like taking photos and going to the beach, but there's something absolutely magical for me about moving my body to the music and having the connection with the people in the room. I've said it time and time again. So find what it is that brings you the most joy and lean into it unapologetically. And you will see how your life transforms. Now, does that mean I'm going to be a dance instructor? No. Am I technically one? Yes, I am. However, for me, like I said, I really want to keep my fun and business separate. Like, this is such a part of it. I don't want to turn something that I find so much pleasure in as I do into like a requirement, like a job where they, you know, somebody, I have to be there at a certain time and place. This I don't mind because it's flexible. I can work with my schedule. Sometimes I'm here in the morning, sometimes I'm at night, sometimes I'm this. So I find places to fit it in every day. I just know it has to be done. But I don't necessarily, you know is not always at the same exact time. Maybe that's what we'll work on for year 2. But for now, it's kind of all over the map depending on what my schedule looks like for that day, because my life changes by my kids' schedules, by all these different things. So I don't have a set in stone schedule that has to, you know, compete with. And so I'm very fortunate in that aspect. And I'm just so fortunate. I'm most fortunate to get the opportunity to be here. I love sharing. I love sharing my stories. As you can tell, I've been through every kind of hell. I've been fat, and I've you know, continued to maintain and improve my health. I have had kids with brain surgeries, heart surgeries, knee surgeries, ear surgeries, hernia surgeries, like many, many surgeries. I have supported them through many types of illnesses, from peanut allergies to mental health issues. I have lived with a husband who is extremely depressive disorder, you know, like has you know, a lot of mental health kind of concerns, and just at the end of the day wants to be loved and seen and heard, just like you and I do. There are so many different things. I've learned to meditate, and I've learned to, you know, give myself a daily dose of dysregulation in the shower that's oh so cold and I don't like, but somehow it empowers me to know that I am in control and I can get through it if I just breathe and calm myself, that like even in these hard situations, I am capable of getting through it and moving through it. And it feels like it's going to last forever, but really it doesn't last forever. And you get through it, and somehow, some way, even though you hated everything about it, you're stronger because you did it. And that's kind of like a parallel for life for me, is like, there are some parts that are great. There's some parts of my shower that are warm and nurturing, and I just want to stand there forever. And then there are parts of my showers that I absolutely don't like. They're hard. I dread it. And that's the cold part, the cold shower. And, but then I get through it and I'm like, wow, I really didn't like that. And I really didn't want to do that today, but I'm glad I did. I'm stronger because of it. And I learned that I don't need to scream and have you know, start panicking just because the water's cold, that I can remain centered and grounded in who I am. And so this year with the Glow Up Method, I'm telling you, we are going to grow and glow together. You guys are my inspiration. I do this for you. I do this for me as well. I'm not going to lie. Like I say, there's so many times I sit in this chair and I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't even know. Like, I've worked this whole issue out loud with you. That's such a freaking side gift that I didn't see happening. I'd really like to continue to have a more focused episode, so you know what you're in for, you know, and I'm able to, you know, expedite the editing process. Like, there's a lot of exciting things I'd like to take on with this. I'm really excited to see where things kind of end up going with my romantic and married life here. I'm excited to see what things start happening for my kids. I feel like some of them are starting to be on the precipice of like having the courage to use their own wings and start to fly. I think it's an exciting time of life. It is a time where the book is still open and we're nearing the end of the book, and you can see there's more pages behind you than there are in front of you. And I'm talking about that as like a unit, like my family unit of 6, which is kind of like 5 right now, but 6, but it's kind of in a weird state. But in that aspect, but I do see that there's like this whole second book that's coming around the corner, that like, oh my gosh, they've already announced it. There's going to be another book. So like, I don't want to rush this one to make it end, but I'm also really excited about the next chapter. I have already planned 2 trips with my gym friends for 2025. Hello, like how lucky am I to have the courage to say yes when I don't even know how I'm going to make that happen, right? I am getting things done and focusing my energy on clearing up some of this stuff that's been hanging out in the back of my mind as like a mental to-do that I haven't wanted to really face, but yet take up a little bit of my time and my space and cluttering up my mind. And so we've talked about decluttering, we've talked about new beginnings, we've talked about our whys, we've talked about a lot of really, really foundational, important things this far in 2025. And I'm really proud of that. And I'm really proud of being myself and not giving up. Because there were days that I was like, why am I even bothering? Like, does anyone care? And there was. I had one lady and she was so loyal and consistent and always commented and always made it feel like, yes, you're doing the right thing. And when I had moments of having self-doubt and thinking, maybe I'll just do something else, she was like a reminder, like, no, you are on the right path. You are doing the right thing. And like I said, if I reach one person, that was my goal. And I reached her. Like, I connect with her. I look forward to her comments all the time. And I am so grateful that that person exists in my life. And that, like, had it not been for this, I would have never known her potentially. And so I hope one day that we get to meet in person. I would love to share some chai tea with you. And I just think, it's such a remarkable world we live in where you get to learn and give and take from people. And especially like somebody who lives in a different state on another part of this country, and potentially other people that live on the other side of different countries and different other side of the world. And so I think in a lot of ways, our world feels very big. And sometimes we can feel alone, even in a small space where I occupied with 5 people. There's been many times in here that like, I've been like, I just feel really lonely. And I know I could go talk to somebody, but there was like an alone on the inside. And so now I'm beginning to feel more comfortable, more safe, more secure in my own skin, so that I can move on to these next chapters and see what comes out of it. Because I do believe that every season we are in, we change some. There are some seasons when we need a little bit more nurturing. And I've said that on here. I am in a season that is like, I have powered through with the grit and the tenacity and all that stuff that like made me tough and able to get through really hard things. That was such a blessing, right? Because if I would just crumble every time, things wouldn't have got done. So I'm beginning to release some of that desire to be so gritty and so tough and have all that sisu and all that stuff. I can release some of it and allow some space for the nurturing, the loving, the support, the tenderness that I need. And so again, I'm just going to have one more quick reminder for you to go out there today and start something. In honor of me, in honor of you, in honor of the channel here we are creating together, I want you to start something, whether it is knitting. If you want to do your own YouTube and podcast, look, I'm living proof it does not need to be perfect. Your voice is your power, and you are meant to share it with the world. Whatever it is, maybe you like to share it in form of art or in writing, whatever media platform you like, to share your story, share your experience. You will help somebody else, and you will also heal yourself in the process of sharing. So I say all of this to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in to us, for this many episodes and making it this far with me. I'm so excited about what is to come. I'm so proud of you. Please continue sharing your light, shining brightly with us, with the world, with the communities. I love it. I love it. I love it. And if you can just do me one huge favor, please go out there today, give somebody a big smile, give them a compliment, and just watch how they glow up. So thank you. Bye.